YouTube! Today I received a package containing the new Super Granulating Set Urban and the newest color YInTiCo Red, which doesn't have a pigment code. It consists of yttrium, indium, titanium and cobalt. And Schmincke also re-released this watercolor, the YInMn Blue, which didn't have a pigment code either, but it's the PB86. So today we're going to try these watercolors out. And I'm very curious to try this watercolor. And I have some opinions about the YInMn Blue. But let's open up the Super Granulating Urban set, which contains an urban yellow, red, green, brown and grey. Which I'm not an urban sketcher. I don't go outside to paint. I just go take my painting supplies and go to a different home and paint. But I would think it should include a blue. It's missing a blue. If I were to go to outside to sketch, I would want to use a blue. Maybe just me, but this is the information on the back side. The Haze set is still limited edition. They should just add that set to the range. I think if I can hold it this way. Oh, you can have all of the pigment code. And what I saw straight away, it's all of the colors contain a PY 159, which that pigment separates every single tube. It separates from the binder. Like I have the Shire set and the Desert set and the Volcano Yellow itself, and all of these colors separated when I try to refill them. So I think we should swatch these colors. Let's start with the Urban Sketch set and then go to... No? First we're gonna try out the newest colors or the newest pigment. Schmincke says that the YInTiCo Red compares to the quinacridone magenta, so we're gonna try that and we're gonna compare the YInMn Blue to ultramarine. But first we need to try them out, right? I'm gonna do like the full-on swatch. You know, I forgot to put down a black line. So let me do that really quick to see how opaque they are. Because the YInMn Blue is supposed to be semi-opaque. Or it says an opaque color. And the YInTiCo Red is supposed to be transparent. We're gonna do like a full-on swatch in these squares and then a wet on wet. And on the bottom we're just gonna compare to the colors that I have. Since this is drying, I wanted to add that the YInMn Blue is harder to re-wet compared to just straight out of the tube. So I wouldn't recommend this pigment unless you really want to try it out. This is going to be such a rambling video. And I don't like to be rambling, so it probably will be edited. Like it's hard to squeeze out the YInMn Blue. Like it doesn't want to come out. So I squeezed a little bit out on the porcelain palette. And I will do the same for the new color. The pink looks pretty. It doesn't like to move that much. I'll zoom out for a bit. So while it's drying, I will move on to the YInMn blue. And I will put another swatch down below. I put these swatches down below because I want to compare them to the quinacridone magenta and the ultramarine, the French ultramarine blue. I also wanted to compare to the Galaxy pink. It might be a lot more muted. I mean, the Galaxy pink might be muted compared to the YInTiCo. So I just wrote down the names. So now let's try the YInMn blue out of the pan. I already pre-wetted it because it needs all the help. You need to wait just a little bit and then it works, sort of. And next to it, I will swatch the French ultramarine, which doesn't have any of these problems and re-wets beautifully, of course. So let's start at the top. The YInTiCo red, the YInMn blue, the comparison of the YInTiCo red. Like, it does look similar to the quinacridone magenta. The magenta is a little bit more vibrant compared to the YInTiCo. And the Galaxy pink is a lot more muted. The YInMn blue. The French ultramarine also has a beautiful granulation, but the YInMn blue doesn't re-wet nicely. It does look pretty out of the two, but when you let it dry, it's just meh. The granulation can be interesting, but I don't think it's supposed to look that way. But now, we're gonna move over to the Urban set. And swatch them out on this palette. Here is how the YInMn blue looks and the YInTiCo red. So this is how the yellow and red looks like. It hasn't separated yet, so I'm gonna quickly swatch them. In a larger circle I'm doing the wet on wet, and here I'm gonna do the wet on dry. Like, it's really surprising that they didn't add, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more, that they didn't add like a blue. This looks like a yellow ochre straight out of the tube. Oh, look! You might be able to see the purple is kind of splitting from the yellow. Okay, now I'm kind of hyped for the wet on wet. The volcano yellow has a low tinting strength. Next up the red. Oh. It's a warm, earthy, muted red. I have to say, it contains a lot of pigment. Like 4 different. Wow. I will of course put the pigments on screen while I'm swatching. Or you can also pause it. The green looks beautiful. It also has like 4 different, no, this one has 3 different pigments. I'll quickly show you. I can show you of course the PY159, the PB36 and the PBK11. Like, it does look like a pearline green. Next up the Urban Brown, which looks really dark. And very muted. I think they put like a lot of black in this color. And the last color, the gray. Which they could have switched it out for a blue. Like if you added like a warm blue, it can neutralize with the urban red, I would think, and would be more useful. So the colors have dried. Let's zoom in. Oh, this is as far as I could zoom. So let's take a closer look at these colors. The urban yellow. It's a beautiful, bright color. I don't know. The desert yellow is a lot more muted. And the shy yellow is also a lot more muted. Which is kind of funny because the shy yellow is also mixed with a PV pigment. I think it was the PV62. Let me check. The shy yellow is a mixture of PY159 and the PV62. While the urban yellow is a mixture of PY159 and a PV16. The urban reds. I don't have any color that compares to the urban red. It might look like mahogany or an Indian red. And the urban green, I would compare it to the Perylene green. The urban brown looks close to the volcano brown or maybe haze brown. While the urban gray looks similar to the haze black. Maybe a little bit less yellow compared to the haze black. Let's take a look at these colors one more time. I quite like the YInTiCo red, but I wouldn't have any uses for the color. But if you have any suggestions, leave them down below, because I wouldn't know what to do with a color like that. The YInMn blue, I don't like it. The comparison for the YInTiCo, the YInMn blue, and the urban set. What do you think of the urban super granulating set? I thought it would be fun to do like a tiny, small painting. It doesn't look that great, but why not try it out? I should try these watercolors out. Like, if you would go outside and start painting, I don't think you would pick these colors. I would pick maybe just me, I would pick like very bright primary colors. Add a burnt sienna. Let me zoom in. And maybe a neutral color for like convenience. So if I had to pick 5 colors, it would be a very bright neutral yellow, a cool yellow, so like a rose, like quinacridone rose, or even magenta would be nice. And then add a burnt sienna, and of course that neutral tint leaning color. Because that would make sense to me. And it might be, depending on where you're from, what colors you would pick. Oh no, I was supposed to leave that white. Let's see how easy it lifts. Well, that's decent for a granulating color. So here's a quick overview of all of the colors and a little demo. I wanted to show you all the separation of the PY159 from the binder, like the volcano yellow. I just refilled this one recently, and maybe you can. I tried to mix the binder back in as much as I could. But the most useless color of the set, which was the volcano orange, which is literally just a mixture of the volcano yellow and red. I'm still upset about that color. Oh, even if, like, look, I'm squeezing it out, and can you see the binder coming up? Like, it starts to separate from the binder. And the same thing happened to the chai yellow, which I also refilled recently. I think just a few days ago. Because it has such a low tinting strength, I tend to use up these colors the quickest. If you have like a similar experience with the Volcano Yellow, let me know down below. I don't think it's a faulty tube because it happens with multiple colors. The desert color seems to be holding up the best, which is also a lot of color. And a lot of colors of the desert set are also mixed with the PY159. And I don't have the same issues as with the Shire set and the Volcano Yellow, Orange, the Shire Yellow. So that was just like a quick, that is my experience with the Volcano Yellow. However, it looks so beautiful in mixtures. It's like the bright yellow just pops up in the mixtures, and it, like normally those colors would just dull down, but the PY159 seems to like split through those mixes. But it's such a difficult pigment. So when I saw that all of these colors were mixed with the PY159, I still have like my issues with the pigment 159, but it might be not such a huge problem in this set. I don't know, we'll see. So I'm wondering if you have similar experiences with that color or tubes that contain that mix. And I personally think that urban sketch sets need to be more vibrant and more useful. That's what I think. So those are my first impressions and thoughts about the urban set. About the YInMn blue and the YInTiCo red. And the YInMn blue doesn't seem to re-wet that great. And this was 21 euros. 21 euros for such a tiny tube of paint. And it doesn't even re-wet that nicely or that well. The YInTiCo reds, I haven't experienced this color a lot, but it looks pretty. I don't know how useful it is, or if it has the same re-wetting problems as or if this color has the same issues as the YInMn blue. I will keep you updated because I will also squeeze a bit out on the tube or see how well it re-wets from this palette. So look out for a pinned comment, or if I forget it, just let me know down below and I will answer it and still make a pinned comment. So what are your thoughts on these watercolors? Would you buy them, get them, or skip? Thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye!